Buck the Movie Buff back here to talk about Kneecap, which was, in my opinion, going to say it right away, and kind of let you know my bias here, that it was snubbed by the Oscars and didn't even receive a nomination for Best Foreign Film or Best Song, Original Song. And when you kind of see my overview here briefly on it, and do go see it, you'll get the sense of why I think it was snubbed by the Oscars. Now, Kneecap is a movie based out of Belfast, Ireland, and it's about the indigenous language of the Irish and how youth in the contemporary setting of Belfast are studying it in some schools, and albeit some that seem to be Ivy League or upper class, while there are still a minority that speak it, sadly. I think the statistics in the film said something like on the island of Ireland, which has a few million people in total population, and I think a third of that's like in Dublin and then another third in Belfast. 80,000 speakers are fluent in Irish. Well, this movie is about how two of these heritage speakers of Irish rap in the language and are making it hip and relevant for the youth. So their paths end up crossing with an instructor who has a studio in Belfast and is able to record them. Now, while this movie is full of drug use and substance abuse, you get the sense that maybe this is an issue and something that is maybe part of what inner city or just metropolitan Irish deal with in their nation, as many cities or any inner city youth anywhere. They amazingly consume substances like ketamine and cocaine and large amounts of alcohol with this teacher of Irish at this upper class school, and really get a groove going and a recording of their Irish rap, and their rap duo being called Kneecap, with the DJ Provi being the teacher. And to hide his identity, he covers up with a mask of the a full fledged mountain. They call them in Spanish gorros or montaña pasos. These kind of what you see typically insurgent groups to wear, either in Chiapas, Mexico, or in case of the Irish and the insurgency there, to the British occupation and rule of the island, wear to disguise their identity. So Kneecap, totally amazed that they couldn't get even the Oscar nomination for, let's say, film, but more so an Oscar nomination for the song, the original songs that they had in the movie. One being in particular, "Sick in the Head," and it's all done in the Irish language. So they're not. There might be tidbits of English that get in there, and that's a thing I think with any language nowadays that's evolving. In terms of like, let's say, Spanish and English, people say Spanglish, that's called code switching in linguistics, when you include a phrase or maybe another word in terms of the syntax, in whether it be lyrical for music or even just conversational, and you have a mix of the languages. So there are at times some English words, and maybe perhaps some of the drug use, thousands of years ago in Ireland, were not a thing. People didn't consume ketamine, and so that didn't exist, or even cocaine. And so when you use the Irish language, that is how you say that word. This was such a visceral movie, in the likes of Danny Boyle, I guess I would say. It's that kind of hit movie where you see the lyrics written across the screen as they're saying it. Some of the editing is just so, um, you know, fresh and maybe Guy Ritchie like. And my whole family, my kids included, teenager age level, were just, we were glued to the tube. The actual rappers in the movie and the protagonists, Liam and Nose, I think I'm pronouncing their names right in Irish. Forgive me if I got that wrong. Are acting along at times Michael Fassbender, for roles known as Jobs by Danny Boyle, or even in X-Men, the younger Magneto. He was also in David Fincher's I think The Killer is what is called, and he's a sharpshooter, a sniper. I need to kind of do an overview on that movie. That was really kind of overlooked. Anyway, they are actually not only the protagonists as rappers in this flick, but the real life band or rapper duo trio with the DJ. And so they're playing themselves in a way, and how they kind of came to fame. And I don't know how much is romanticized or fictional in terms of the story, but I think there are, as my understanding is from reading up on the internet with this, real life parallels that you see in the movie. Okay, as romanticized as it might be, and it does kind of deal with some of the history of the IRA and Belfast, and some very, very kind of legendary or even now mythological characters, from the hunger strikes in the prisons, and where they smeared feces all over the walls, as well as disappearances of certain of the IRA that this movie alludes to might have never disappeared, but might still be alive on this planet and have been in hiding for years. So it helps to kind of know some of that. But, if you haven't seen this, do get out and see it. It should have garnered at least one nomination, if not more. I think minimum two. It should have had the best foreign film. Although that's somewhat ambiguous now with the Oscars. And definitely Sick in the Head should have had a best original song nomination. So don't know what happened here. I am going to next record another video about Emilia Perez. So if you haven't seen that video, it's on the channel. I wonder if that's part of this. Often the Oscars in certain years want to, communicate a political message, especially at times to the government or the state. And it was an election year where we are now governed by the Trump administration. And if you have not been paying attention, there's a lot of day one of the administration commentary against DEI, diversity and equality and inclusion, and genders. And so who knows? I'm curious to see how the Oscars pan out, or if they pan out, because we had the Palisade fires too, of the fires of the LA, the Palisades, and there have been people like Stephen King and others saying there shouldn't even be an Oscar ceremony this year, so that all the proceeds that might go, all the investment and funding that would go to that could be proceeds towards rebuilding that area of LA. So interesting time. Great movies out. This is one of my favorite times of the year. And my family and I are systematically going through all the Oscar nominations. And so they'll be popping up on the channel. Check them out. And I will give, as always, my annual Oscar nominations to wins prediction video, which is much longer than the average 5-minute video I do. And that one goes like 30 minutes to an hour, depending, around 45 minutes. And then I'll do the recap to see what I was right about, what I was wrong about, and if I agree with what the Oscar wins were. Okay. That's all for now. That's all, folks. And